some introductions. We're going to talk some roofing today.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I know that you say that before every segment, but this is really going to be a fun one. This is a product I'm really excited about. So, just to introduce myself, my name is Mitch Heitsch. I am the territory manager for the state of Florida for our Unified Steel product. With us, we got Robin Anderson. I'm going to let him introduce himself because I'm going to butcher his title.
Yeah, so Robin Anderson, I am the Technical and Strategy Development Manager for Westlake Royal Roofing Solutions.
Yep. So, good segue into that. What is Westlake Royal Roofing Solutions? So, if you're familiar with the industry at all, you may be familiar with the old Boral North America. So, back in October, Boral North America was sold to Westlake. With that, we have a couple of different name changes and some transitions with that. So Boral North America is now gone away. We are now Westlake Royal Roofing Solutions, encompassed by our Westlake Royal Building Products. Within our Westlake Royal Roofing Solutions, we have a few different name changes on some of the brands that we've had in the past, right? So we had our concrete roof tile division. That is now going to be referred to as our New Point concrete roof tile. Our Boral steel line, which is our stone-coated steel, that's what we're going to be talking about today. That is now going to be known as Unified Steel. Unified Steel is going to be the new brand on that. We also have our clay division with US Tile, as well as our Westlake Royal Roofing components that we spoke about a little bit yesterday. So that's just a quick overview in terms of who we are as a company with the branding and where we've moved forward since the sale in October.
Excellent, man. That's exciting stuff right there.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, talking Unified Steel today, right? What is Unified Steel? If you're familiar with this look at all, this is a stone-coated steel roofing panel. Okay, there's a little bit of history behind this panel as well. So about 5 or 6 years ago, we acquired the Headwaters acquisition. We picked up about 4 different stone-coated steel brands. Okay, so there is some of the ones that you might hear in the industry are Gerard and Metro. Those were 2 of the big names. We also picked up Almet and Steel Rock. So those 4 brands were rolled up to create Boral Steel at the time. And then with the Westlake acquisition, we are now known as Unified Steel. So that's just a quick history as to where this has come about. The product itself was developed back in the 1950s in New Zealand as a modular roofing panel. So this product has been around for 60 plus years, right? So it's not new to the industry. It's a little bit new to us in Florida. We may not be so familiar with it. I am really excited being the rep, being able to represent this product because quite honestly, it's one of the coolest roofing systems I've installed and seen.
It's got a legacy of durability.
It really does. It really does. And that, thank you for the segue because we're going to move into what is this panel, right? So what you're looking at here is going to be a 26 gauge Gavilion metal panel. Okay, we take that panel, we sandwich it in between 2 layers of corrosion-resistant coating, and then we put a primer backing on the back and on the front. What you're seeing on the top here is going to be our 3M stone chips that we adhere to the panel using an acrylic polymer adhesive. Okay, that acrylic polymer adhesive, I'm going to use that as a buzzword because you're going to want to know that word moving forward if you're talking to customers about this product, right? Acrylic polymer adhesive is what we use to adhere the stone chips, and we bake them on through the manufacturing process. Anything to add to that, or did I nail it?
No, you just get
All right.
all of it.
Awesome.
Boom.
Got it. Love it when I get to explain things so well that everyone just no questions at all. My slide is not wanting to trans. There we go. Okay. So some of the features and benefits to this product, right? Why would you want to choose this over other roofing products, right? A couple of things, actually several things, right? First off, this has a Class 4 hail rating. If you're familiar with how that rating is achieved, basically during the testing process, they take a 2-inch ice ball, they fire it at the panel at 111 feet per second,
Yes.
plus minus, right? If it doesn't damage, blemish the panel, then it achieves that Class 4. Very recently, we have achieved what is known as a VSH rating, or very severe hail rating. I'm actually going to let Robin talk about how they do that testing.
Perfect. So the biggest thing that happened with that is FM approvals actually came out with a new classification, and that very severe hail actually doubles the kinetic energy of that ice ball. So from going from 110, it goes up to over 200 feet per second.
Wow.
And it is an impressive test. When that ice ball hits these panels, you feel it in your chest. It is an immense amount of kinetic energy. And right now, we are one of the products for steep slope that carries that classification.
Now, what are they trying to measure with that test, right? Because the class 4 is more about the panel itself. With this new written testing, what are they trying to look for?
It's actually for the survivability of the structure. So, yes, it may dent a panel, but what we're trying to prevent is an ice ball ending up in your living room or on your bed in your bedroom. Because that was some of the things that we found over the years. Is you get a 4-inch hailstone in Texas, in Colorado, those are literally sitting in the family rooms.
Yeah, no thanks.
No.
Correct. So that was where this goes to. So if you can survive that kind of impact and not damage the structure or increase the insurance coverage that has to happen on the furniture, then that's what that policy is all about.
So that makes sense. That's why Chip and Joanna Gaines always put that wood beadboard up there.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So I know that we're really concerned about hailstorms in Florida, right? So let's move to some of the other features and benefits. So the product itself carries a Class A fire rating when used with the correct underlayment. Okay, so we do have a Class A fire rating with this. One of the biggest selling features that we have to this product is the lightweight capability of this. Okay, the product itself, when installed, carries about 150 pounds per square, so roughly 1.5 pounds per square foot. To put that into perspective, your standard shingles are right around 250 pounds per square. Concrete roof tile is about 800 to 900 pounds per square. So when I talk about some of the different profiles, you'll notice one of the profiles I have behind me is what we call our barrel vault profile, right? This looks just like a concrete roof tile when it's installed up on a roof, minus the fact that you can install this product with very minimal truss engineering. Okay, so you can achieve the aesthetic look of really whatever it is that you're looking for, with the benefit that it's an incredibly lightweight product. Okay, so minimal truss engineering when you're installing this product. Also, because it has airspace underneath it, when this product is installed, which we'll go through here in the live demo in a little bit, the product has an airspace behind it, right? So you're getting airflow. It's a breathable roof system. So there are energy efficient capabilities behind this, right? We do our famous heat lamp test that we test this product on that measures attic temperature. Your standard architectural shingle, you're getting about 149 degrees attic temperature. With this product, it's more at 89 degrees. So very energy efficient, lightweight product. And then finally, last feature and benefit I'm gonna wrap it up with is gonna be our warranty. This product sells itself when I talk about the warranty. So it is a true 50-year warranty. Years 0 through 20 of that warranty, we cover the parts and the labor if there's any manufacturing defect. So
that's awesome.
First 20 years, we're covering parts and labor. Years 21 through 50, we're covering all the parts and pieces, non-prorated, right? So whatever it costs us at that time, could be year 49, if there's a manufacturing defect, we're gonna pay the full cost of the parts and pieces. No proration to that. And then finally, the biggest selling feature of this warranty is actually registered to the physical location, not to the homeowner. Okay, so what does that mean?
That's
What does that
cool.
mean?
That means if that house gets sold, it's still part of the
There's-
property. There's value to it versus see you later.
Exactly, right? We get a lot of warranties that you have to transfer. People don't fill out the paperwork. They don't actually carry over. We're registered to the physical house itself. So there's no paperwork you have to fill out. 50 people could live in that structure for 50 years. They all get that warranty. Quite honestly, it's one of the best warranties I've ever seen in the business. So those are some of the highlights and features that we talk about with that. So it's a live demo stage. Let's get to the live demo a little bit, right?
Let's throw some metal.
Yeah, here we go. We're gonna listen to some screws hitting the boards here. So what we're gonna be installing today is gonna be our pine crest shape. This is a wood shape kind of look. What you're seeing here is gonna be actually a full roof system. If you were here yesterday, you may have seen our components demonstration that we had. What we have here on the underlayment is actually gonna be our solar skin blue. It's a very energy efficient underlayment. Okay, so what you have here is gonna be a synthetic underlayment. You're gonna have an R5.5 value fiberglass insulation in there, and then an aluminum foil facer as a radiant barrier. Okay, so very energy efficient underlayment. We've also installed our elevated batten system. This is gonna be battens that actually have plastic pucks underneath them that elevate that batten above the deck for more airflow and any water drainage, right? This is a watertight system, but if you were installing the EBS battens under tile, it helps allow for that water flow to go underneath there. So I'm recapping yesterday's
Yeah,
presentation.
it keeps that from being a dam and stopping the water from everything.
Exactly. So a couple different things that we're going to show here. Robin's holding the piece of fascia in his hands right now. If you're doing a batten install, this is how you're going to start your first course, right?
Yes. And one of the big things that we like to tell everybody is if there's something that you need on your roof, we're stone coating it so that you can have your trims, your valleys, your rakes, your caps. Everything will tie in. Everything has the same durability, that same performance. So yes, start out with our drip edge. We'll be doing two different little rake edge details here with a panel turn up and then a cut and tuck method on the other side, which uses our rake channel.
Yep. So while Robin's installing that, I'm going to talk a little bit about it as he's hooking this together, right? So that TV's kind of glitching out over there, so you might have to look at this one over here. You see the guys installing it, right? I talked about the lightweight capability, right? These guys are able to move these panels around pretty easily. It's a very lightweight product. It's very easy. It's walkable when you're walking on it the correct way. So what he's doing here is he's going to install that first fascia piece, right? This stone-coated fascia piece is going to have the drip edge built into it. So you're not going to have to worry about adding a drip edge to that. This is what's going to start it off on that first course of battens, okay? As he mentioned, we have two different rake details that we're going to be doing with this. All of our products have the ability to have different rake details to them, with the exception of granite. Okay, we make 5 different profiles in this stone-coated product. Okay, we have our barrel vault that you're looking at here. We have our Pacific tile, which is going to be a smaller barrel. We have our pine crest that we're going to be highlighting on the installation here. We then have 2 shingle profiles, our cottage shingle and our granite ridge shingle. Okay, I'm getting into the weeds here a little bit, but I want to explain as much as I possibly can. So out of those 5 profiles, 3 of those profiles have the ability to go direct to deck or on a batten system that you're seeing here. Okay, those 3 profiles would be your barrel vault, your pine crest shake, and your Pacific tile. So you can either do direct to deck where you don't have to worry about the wood battens, or you can go on a batten system. Easy way to remember it, if it says shingle after it, it has to go direct to deck. Okay, you can't do batten system on that. So what you're seeing Robin do over here, this is going to be 2 of the tools that we have available that are going to make an installation go much quicker. Okay,
that is cool.
Yeah, he just demonstrated our cutting machine that we have here. Important fact with this, when you're installing this product, you want to make sure that when you're doing any cuts, that you're using something with a pinching motion. Whether it be our Malco cutter over here, or if you're using tin snips or something with a pinching motion. You don't want to use anything with a grinding or a cutting motion, because you're going to split that Gavilion motor, right? So it has to be something with a pinching motion.
And one of the great advantages by using the Gavilion, you have 2 different metals that are working together. Zinc is a self-healing product, meaning you scratch it, come back, and that scratch goes away. By being able to do the pinching motion as Mitch was talking about, you're actually taking the 2 coatings and bringing them together. And it seals off the steel core, which helps prevent rust in the future.
Yeah.
That's why we have the technical guy here right there.
I love it. That's why he's got a title that is like, it doesn't even fit on a business card.
Amen.
So what Robin's showing here too as well is on the opposite side of me is going to be what we call our rake return metal. Okay, so you want to use that in what Robin called our cut and tuck method. So what you're doing there is you're tucking the panel into that return. You want to run a layer of expandable foam up inside of there, and that's going to give you kind of more of a picture frame detail.
Nice.
Okay, so if you're doing something that you want to achieve more of a shingle look to it, right, that's going to be a great detail to have over there.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
What he also did over on this side, you see how he bent that panel?
Yeah, give it that little return to it.
Yep. So the product itself, as I mentioned, it's a 26 gauge Gavilion metal panel. What's your flashing detail made out of? 26 gauge metal, right? So essentially we're coating the entire roof with flashing detail.
In the same material.
In the same material. So it can act as a counter flashing detail. So when we're doing a bend up method like this, what he's doing is he's bending that panel up that return, and then we're going to cap that off with a trim cap piece, which we have somewhere over here. So this is going to be your trim cap piece, okay? When you're trying to figure out your architects and your designing features of this, you want to really make sure you're specifying what it is that you want. Because it's gonna impact the installation method as well as the architectural design. Do you want to picture frame the roof out with a rake return, or do you want to give it more of a tile look where you use these trim cap pieces, right? I'm going to put this here because it's going to end up installing. Now, you see how easy that was for him to cut that?
That makes life so easy right there. Holy smokes.
Speaking from experience, I have built several displays where I've had to use the hand tin snips. Buy the cutter. Buy the cutter. It's going to save you a ton of work and your forearms are going to love it, right?
Hand surgeon needed after doing that roof.
So, a couple different things. I'm going to switch to the next slide here because I got a couple of different things on this slide that I want to point out. When we're talking about the fasteners itself, 4 out of our 5 profiles, with the exception of Granite Ridge, are what's known as an exposed fastener system. Okay, so that means that our panel screws are going to be exposed. Okay, if you're like me, initially when I heard that, I cringed a little bit. Right? I thought of exposed fasteners, and you think about expansion, contraction, you think about those screws backing themselves out. A couple of different things. A, this is the size of the panel that you're installing. It's roughly a 1 foot by 4 foot panel. You don't get that same expansion, contraction where you're getting the screws backing themselves out, right?
Yeah, good point.
The other part of that, the buzzword that I hit on when I was talking about the manufacturing process, that acrylic polymer adhesive that we use.
Yep.
You're using self-tapping screws. When those screws go in through that panel, that acrylic polymer adhesive basically fuses around that screw.
Oh, nice.
So you're not running into any issues with leaks coming in through those penetration points. You'll notice on the screw slide up here too, we have our panel screws are actually coated to match the colors of the panels.
So there we go, that fixes that problem.
So when you're seeing this installed on a roof, you unless you're really looking for it and you're a roofing contractor like some of us are, you might be able to catch it, but odds are it's going to blend in really well to where you won't even see that happen at all. So that acrylic polymer adhesive helps set that screw. Now, I'm backtracking again a little bit. I mentioned before, right? 3 of our 5 profiles can go direct to deck or on battens. So if you're using a direct to deck system, I'm going to highlight this over here. A direct to deck system, you're using this screw pattern over here, right? You're almost creating an X pattern with that. If you're using a batten pattern, you're just sinking the screw in through the nose. So, if I'm using a direct to deck system, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay my first course. I'm going to install the screws on the back flange here, and then through the nose. Your next panel is going to go over top of it, and you're going to come in through the nose and on the back flange, right? That's how you get that X pattern. It's how we achieve pretty high uplift resistant values as well.
That way nothing, wind can't get underneath it.
Exactly.
Do its
Exactly.
thing.
Yes. So you have fasteners in the nose and on the back flange. So double security there. If you're using a batten pattern, which is what we're doing here, you actually are only installing it through the nose. And the ability of what that gives you is that if you're using a batten pattern, you can actually install this product from the top of the roof down.
How cool is that?
Right? So
One great reason for that is you can actually do your install and never put your foot on the finished product.
yes. So if you're, let's just say you have a 12-12 pitch roof, right? Really, really steep. So you run a batten system up that. You lay your battens as you're working up the roof.
You got your own little ladder right
Then
there.
you start at the top and you work your way back down. From a safety feature, it's huge, right?
It changes everything.
You never have to step foot on the field tile until you do your trim cap pieces. So it's a big safety feature if you're using batten installs versus direct to deck. Now, why would you use either or, right? On direct to deck, it does have its own applications. A little bit more cost effective. I think we've all seen what can happen with lumber prices.
Sure.
So if you're coating an entire roof with lumber, might drive the cost up a little bit. That's leveled out here recently, so happy to hear all that. But
Give it 6 months, right?
yeah, exactly. So, but again, if you're doing direct to deck, you have to go from the bottom up. If you're using battens, you can go bottom up or top down.
Nice.
Right? Now, with those fastening patterns, you're going to use different amounts of screws. So if you're going direct to deck, the standard installation method is to use 4 screws per panel on the bottom, 4 screws on the top. So 8 screws per panel. Okay, if you're down in South Florida and you need to achieve a little bit higher uplift, we have testing for our pattern number 2, which is going to be 8 screws on the bottom, 8 screws on the top. I'm going to tell you it's going to take a crane to get that off of there. Right? If you're using a batten install method, what you're using is 5 screws along the nose with that 5th one being shared. Okay, and then we also have a pattern too, which is 10 screws in the nose. Again, take a crane to get that thing off of it.
And for those that really want to get extreme, with our barrel system, we actually have a fastening pattern that exceeds 202 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got more problems than your roof in those kind of speeds.
Yeah.
So one of the big questions I get asked all the time, what about coastal applications? Right? Can I put this stuff on the beach? This product performs very well in coastal applications. You can put this right beachside, and you're not going to have any issues with it. The only difference, our standard screws on our panel screws are going to be a carbon screw. If you go to a coastal application within 1 mile of any brackish or salt water, you're going to want to switch those panel screws out to stainless steel.
That makes sense.
Outside of that, the warranty stays intact, everything stays the same. So the panels themselves perform very well on coastal applications. So from a cost-effective standpoint, you can get into great applications with this for coastal applications, minimal truss engineering, any architectural style that you're looking for. Right?
Excellent.
How we doing, Robin?
Last panel.
Last panel. I'm putting him on the spot here, right? But he's installing roughly almost a square. Well, that's not quite square. I'm getting a little crazy there, but I mean, you see the speed of what he's able to do on this, and this is on a pretty severe pitch.
Yeah, no kidding.
Right? When these guys are on the roof, you can go a little bit quicker. So it's really a great product. Like I said, when you said we got a fun one, I love this product. I am a big believer in it.
So how do you deal with it when you're installing it? Like you're getting up there and you've got 6 inches left
Yep.
at the top of the roof as you're hitting the ridge.
So
Fantastic part about that, it is 26 gauge. I'll take my panel, bend it, cut it, form it, and it becomes the last course.
There we go.
So
That's awesome.
If we're using a bend up method, right? What we're going to do is we're going to skip ahead a slide here too quick. If we're using a bend up method, what you would do on the ridge here is you would have another 2x2, and you would take your last course and you would bend that panel up. And just how we did it on the sidewall here, right, where he's attaching it in through the side, you would bend that panel up and then put your trim cap piece over top of that. So you create a counter flashing on the top with a trim cap piece over top of
Wow,
that.
you're just not going to get any water or anything lifted up to that.
Like I said, it is a watertight system, but it's also breathable. So you get that energy efficiency with that, right? We're not finishing out your ridges or your hips with any mortar or anything like that where we're sealing everything in. We're allowing the roof system to breathe because we have that counter flashing built in. Another question we get is head wall, sidewall details.
Yes.
Right? So again, 26 gauge galvano counts as a flashing detail. So if you run into a head wall, sidewall application and you're doing a bend up method, you can bend that panel up the head wall, sidewall, attach it into there, and then attach a piece of stone coated Z-bar, counter flashing, over top of that. Cock the top of the Z-bar and you're done. Right?
That's
So
clean.
Your flashing details are very clean. The installation method itself is very clean. We don't have them with us, but if you're familiar with concrete roof tile installation or anything like that, you have to finish your edges with a mortar ball,
Yeah.
right? We make circular end discs. That's how you finish off these details. And you stitch screw them into that trim cap piece. So what that means, crews love this stuff because it is clean. You don't get a lot of cut dust, you don't get the mortar and the oxide and all that you have to mix on site. We do manufacture concrete, so I'm not trying to talk bad about concrete at all, right? It's just, this is a very clean installation.
Okay.
If you're looking for help with the mortar and oxide, if you're doing tile, check us out at booth 927. We do have tile mortar that's already pre-mixed, right? So we're gonna take that guesswork out of it on the tile installation side. But we're talking steel today.
Yeah, we're still
I'm excited about steel. So, again, so you notice the two different methods here, right?
Yeah.
So you've got this that's going to give you more of that tile look, which here in Florida, we're more accustomed to, right? So this is going to be a much more popular look in Florida. If you're out maybe in the Midwest or you're looking for more of that shingle look with a picture frame, use a rake return, picture frame it off, and you'll be set there. Anything else to add?
Yeah, no,
More
you must start on
sweat.
Monday.
Making it
Or
work.
a Utah boy, it's a little awkward.
I'll let you know tomorrow.
As far as what? Yeah, so we got these over here. So the question was, what would we recommend in terms of cutting and all that? Obviously, recommendation number one is the guillotine cutter over here, the Malco cutter, right? That's going to save you a lot of time. If you don't have that and you have some of these shears here, that I have seen roofers install entire roofs with that. It can be done, as well as the bending. The bender, the last time bender that we have over here is great. That can bend up to a full panel. So if you're doing your ridge details to bend that full panel, we have also seen crews that have larger 12-inch hand brakes that they can break those panels that way themselves. So
The one thing we don't want to see you cutting with is a machete. I've seen it, and it scares the bejeebies out of me. But don't do it.
he didn't want to say bejeebies, but awesome. So we got a few minutes left here. I'm going to open it up. If we have any questions, anything like that, that's going to kind of conclude a little bit of the live demo. But if you're like me, you probably have a bunch of questions about it. We're at booth 927. We can answer a lot more of them, or I'm happy to answer any questions you guys might have here now as well.
So what happens if you get a branch or something that hits it and actually scratches the roof?
That is a great question. Okay,
There's
so
actually 2 stages to that that you can look at.
Yep.
Yep.
You could be looking at a simple scratch.
Yep.
We actually have a touch-up kit that is the exact same base coat, the exact same granule that you can just go on ahead and apply that. If that impact was a little bit more and it may have punctured a panel, the fantastic part about an exposed fastener system is I can back out those 4 screws, pull that panel out, put a new one in, 4 more screws, and it's back to 100%.
yeah.
Man, that's a quick fix.
So from a maintenance standpoint, it's very clean, right? Also to that point with the exposed fastener systems and being able to take out one panel at a time, we also manufacture solar clips that go with these, right? So the solar clip itself, I should have had one with me. The solar clip is going to get installed to the decking below, and then it actually will bend up and over the panel and stick out with a nice bracket for you to attach your solar clip to. The beauty about that is that you're not penetrating the deck at all, right? It bends up and over, the next panel sits over top of that, so you're not having any roof penetrations through the actual product itself to install solar. The other side of it is, again, like I said, you can pull out that one panel, put that in there, put it right back over, so it adds to solar installation going a lot quicker, a lot less headaches from roofing contractors.
Got to get out of my head. That was my next question.
Yes, a lot less headaches, a lot less headaches. Any other questions from the audience? We just explained it that well. Good. Again, I'm excited about this product. I think we've got a great space for this here in Florida. Booth 927, we're over there. We got a lot more literature, a lot more information. Would love to talk with you more. If you have any questions, find me. We're here to help. So,
Who
thank
wants
you.
a hat?
Oh, yes.
We got some hats.
Thank you.